Imagine a machine. It doesn't know your name. It doesn't know your age. But within 35 minutes, it knows exactly what kind of content will make you feel empty, anxious, and still unable to stop scrolling. That machine exists, and right now 150 million Americans are using it every single day. This is the story of how one app, built by engineers who never meant to harm anyone, accidentally became the most powerful behavior modification tool ever created for teenagers. Before we go deep, let's make sure we're on the same page. What even is an algorithm? Simply put, it's a set of rules a computer follows to make decisions. Netflix uses one to suggest your next show. Google uses one to rank search results. But TikTok's algorithm? It's different. It's not just suggesting content. It's learning you faster than any algorithm before it. TikTok was built by a Chinese tech company called ByteDance. Founded in 2012 by Zhang Yiming, a soft-spoken engineer who had one obsession: building a recommendation engine so accurate it could predict what you wanted to read before you even knew yourself. He called it today's headlines. But the real product wasn't news. It was attention. Here's what makes TikTok different from every other platform. Facebook and Instagram mostly show you content from people you follow. TikTok doesn't care who you follow. Its entire feed, called the For You page, is powered by one question: what will make this specific person watch just one more video? And to answer that, it tracks everything. How long you pause on a video, when you rewatch, when you scroll away, even the speed at which you scroll. Researchers found something shocking. In one study, test subjects were given fresh TikTok accounts, completely blank, no history. Within just 35 minutes of scrolling, the algorithm had already built an accurate psychological profile of each person. It knew their mood. It knew their insecurities. It had started delivering content specifically calibrated to their emotional state. 35 minutes. That's less time than a lunch break. Now, why does this matter more for teenagers than for adults? Because the teenage brain is not a small adult brain. It is a fundamentally different organ that is still under construction. The prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for impulse control, long-term thinking, and resisting temptation, isn't fully developed until age 25. This means teens literally, biologically, cannot resist the pull of an endless feed the same way a 30-year-old can. Here's the neuroscience as simply as I can put it. Your brain has a chemical called dopamine. It's released when something good happens. Food, a hug, a compliment. Dopamine doesn't just make you feel good. It makes your brain say, remember how you got that feeling, and do it again. This is the engine behind all habits. And TikTok has figured out how to hack it. Here's where it gets really interesting and really dark. Not every TikTok video is good. Most are forgettable. Some are amazing. You never know which one is next. And that unpredictability? That is the most addictive pattern known to behavioral science. It's called variable reward. It's the exact same mechanism that makes slot machines so hard to walk away from. The not knowing keeps you pulling the lever. The infinite scroll was actually invented in 2006 by a designer named Aza Raskin, who now deeply regrets it. He built it to make websites easier to use. No more clicking next page, just keep going. He later estimated that infinite scroll causes 200 billion extra hours of time wasted per day across the internet. 200 billion hours every single day. Combine infinite scroll with autoplay. Videos that start instantly without you choosing to watch them. And you've created a system where doing nothing is the choice to keep consuming. You have to actively choose to stop. And every moment you don't actively stop, the algorithm counts as consent to keep going. It flips the psychology of choice entirely. In 2023, researchers at Harvard tracked 200 teenagers over 18 months. Half used TikTok daily, half didn't use it at all. The results were striking. The daily TikTok users showed a 42% higher rate of generalized anxiety. They also showed significantly reduced ability to concentrate on tasks longer than 90 seconds. Not 90 minutes, 90 seconds. Let that sink in. Anxiety isn't the only thing spiking. Depression rates among US teens have roughly doubled since 2012. The same year smartphones became mainstream. Psychologist Twenge, who has studied this data for over a decade, points to one specific shift: the move from face-to-face socializing to screen-based socializing. Real friendships build emotional resilience. Likes and views don't. Here's something the data shows that most people don't know. The mental health impact of social media hits girls significantly harder than boys. Not because girls are weaker, but because of how they use it. Boys tend to use social media to play games or watch entertainment. Girls use it for social comparison, measuring themselves against filtered, edited AI-enhanced images of beauty and success. The result is predictable and devastating. TikTok's algorithm has been documented by multiple researchers sending users down what they call a rabbit hole of body image content. In tests, accounts set up to look like insecure teenagers were immediately shown content about extreme diets, body checking, and weight loss without ever searching for it. The algorithm inferred the insecurity from behavior alone and fed it. Now let's be fair and Steelman TikTok's side for a moment. The company argues that the algorithm is a discovery engine. It helps creators who'd never be found on traditional media reach millions of people, small towns, niche topics, real education, and this is genuinely true. TikTok has launched careers, spread scientific knowledge, and helped people find communities they couldn't find anywhere else. But here's the fundamental problem. A discovery engine that helps you find cooking tutorials is also the same engine that sends a lonely 14-year-old into a spiral of self-comparison content. The algorithm doesn't distinguish between this is good for this person and this is engaging for this person. It only knows one word more. Now let's talk neuroscience again, specifically neuroplasticity. Your brain physically changes based on what you do repeatedly. Every habit carves a deeper neural pathway. This is how you learn to read, to ride a bike, to recognize your best friend's face. But it's also how the brain adapts to short-form content. The more you consume 15-second videos, the more your brain physically rewires to expect and prefer 15-second stimulation. Teachers across America are reporting the same thing. Students who were perfectly capable of reading a chapter in 2019 now struggle to stay focused for a 12-minute lecture. A high school English teacher in Ohio described it to NPR like this. It's not that they don't want to learn. It's like they physically can't hold the attention anymore. Something changed. And the timeline of that change maps almost perfectly onto TikTok's rise. There's another mechanism at work that makes everything worse. Sleep disruption. The blue light from phone screens suppresses melatonin, the chemical that tells your brain it's time to sleep. But it's not just the light. The emotional stimulation of late-night scrolling keeps the brain in an aroused state. Studies show teens who use TikTok after 10 p.m. get an average of 73 fewer minutes of sleep per night. And that's nearly a full sleep cycle gone. Now let's stack these effects. Less sleep means worse emotional regulation. Worse emotional regulation means more vulnerability to comparison and anxiety content. More anxiety means more late-night scrolling for comfort. More scrolling means less sleep. This isn't a side effect. This is a loop. And for teenagers already in a difficult developmental period, this loop can become a full-on spiral downward in a matter of months. In 2021, a former ByteDance employee testified that the company's internal research showed they were fully aware their product caused harm to teenage girls specifically. The documents mirrored what Facebook's internal research had shown about Instagram that the company knew, continued, and didn't tell anyone. The internal phrase reportedly used was within acceptable parameters. Here's one of the most stunning facts in this entire story. In China, ByteDance operates a completely different version of TikTok called Douyin. And Douyin has hard limits for minors. Children under 14 can only use it for 40 minutes per day. The content they see is educational, science, history, art. No viral dances, no endless rabbit holes. The Chinese government requires this. Meanwhile, the American version has no such limits for American children. Think about that. In March 2023, TikTok's CEO Shou Chu sat before the US Congress for 5 grueling hours. Senators asked him directly, is TikTok safe for children? His answers were carefully worded. He committed to a Project Texas, storing US data on American servers. But senators on both sides were unconvinced, and one exchange went viral in a way no one in that room expected. The US has tried to ban TikTok twice. The first attempt under Trump was blocked in courts. The second attempt resulted in a law signed by Biden in April 2024, requiring ByteDance to sell TikTok or face a ban. The deadline passed, TikTok briefly went dark for hours and then came right back. Because 170 million American users threatening to riot is a difficult political force to overcome. TikTok and its users have a surprisingly compelling legal argument against a ban, the First Amendment. Banning an app where 170 million people communicate and create arguably restricts free speech. Federal courts have agreed this is a serious concern. It puts the US government in a paradox. Protect children's mental health or protect free expression. And so far, no one has found a clean answer. Let's talk practical. If you're a parent watching this, here's what the research actually supports. Not just take the phone away. 1. Delayed start. Every year, you delay a child's social media access past age 13. Significantly reduces risk. 2. Phone-free bedrooms. Not during meals, bedrooms. Sleep is the core mechanism. 3. Conversation over confrontation. Kids who feel judged go underground with their usage. Kids who feel understood talk about it. Schools are fighting back. As of 2024, over a dozen U.S. states have passed legislation restricting phones in schools during the day. Florida banned social media for under 14s entirely. Early results from phone-free school policies show improvements in academic focus and, remarkably, increases in actual face-to-face social interaction among students. Kids, when phones are removed, talk to each other. In 2023, a coalition of U.S. states launched lawsuits against TikTok, Meta, YouTuber, and Snapchat. Among the most powerful testimonies, a 17-year-old girl from Tennessee who described being sent into an eating disorder spiral she directly linked to TikTok's recommendation algorithm. She said she never searched for diet content. It found her, and it took her 2 years to recover. One more honest question we have to ask. Is TikTok uniquely dangerous? Or are we just blaming the most obvious villain? Instagram, YouTube Shorts, and Snapchat all use the same core mechanisms. Variable reward, infinite scroll, algorithmic recommendation. Research suggests they all cause harm. TikTok is just the most optimized version of a system that the entire tech industry built. It's the speed, not just the design. And here's where it gets truly unsettling. Right now, more and more of the content in your TikTok feed isn't made by humans. It's AI generated. Videos, voices, faces, emotions, all synthesized to be maximally engaging for you specifically. We are heading toward a future where an algorithm decides what you see, and an AI creates content specifically designed to hit your psychological triggers in real time infinitely. No human creator in the loop at all. Philosopher William James wrote in 1890 that the ability to bring back a wandering attention over and over again is the root of judgment, character, and will. He said, whoever is master of this attention is master of themselves. We didn't know in 1890 that a company would one day build a machine whose entire purpose is to master that attention before you can. That is what we're dealing with. It is not a small thing. Researchers studying digital well-being have found that the most effective interventions aren't bans, they're replacements. When teens have strong alternatives, sports, in-person friendships, creative hobbies, meaningful work, their voluntary screen time drops significantly. The brain doesn't crave TikTok specifically. It craves stimulation, connection, and meaning. Give it those things in real life, and the algorithm loses its grip. Here's the painful paradox of this video. You are watching this on YouTube, a platform with its own algorithm, its own autoplay, its own infinite scroll. I'm benefiting from the same attention economy I've been critiquing for 25 minutes. And you already knew that. The machine doesn't hide. It just makes itself indispensable. That's the genius and the horror of what's been built. So here's the question I want to leave you with. Not for your kids, for you. When was the last time you were bored? Really bored, not reaching for your phone, not filling the silence, just sitting with your own thoughts. Scientists call this default mode network activation. And it's when your brain does its most creative, self-reflective, meaningful processing. That boredom you used to feel, you might not have felt it in years, and you might not have noticed it was gone. If you made it to the end of a video about attention, congratulations, your prefrontal cortex is still intact. Share this with one parent, one teacher, or one teenager. Not to scare them, just to start a conversation. Because the most dangerous thing about this isn't TikTok. It's the silence around it and cause effect. If this made you think, subscribe. And maybe, just maybe, put the phone down for 5 minutes after this. Your brain will thank you.